Hey folks, welcome to Set Apart Homestead. This is Travis, and so today I thought I'd talk about preparing to deal with the emotional stress of when you go through an SHTF. Whatever that is, whether it's a personal one or some big epic global apocalyptic or, anything in between. I don't think a lot of times, especially us guys, think about that, about the emotional strain and the effect it will have on us, because we're guys, we don't have emotions, right? We don't let things hurt us emotionally. uh, you know you know what I'm saying, guys, that we're all the Vulcans that things don't get to us. Well, they do. Okay, I'm gonna let our little secret out. They do. um, they probably don't affect us the same way it does women or children, but they do affect us. And there are certain things that you may not have thought about, but I guarantee you that they are your soft point. Maybe it's your family, your children. There's certain things uh, that if the right thing happened, it would definitely tear through your tough exoskeletal, shell. So, how do we prepare for that? I don't know that you really can. I know from my personal experience now that it's hard to prepare for going through, you know, a major tragedy in your life. It's hard to prepare to go through, major loss in your life. It's hard to prepare to go through, epic, drastic, apocalyptic change. Uh, a few things that come to mind is to be prayed up. Uh, I think that's probably most important. You need to do that now. That's your best preparations. Is prayed up, read your Bible. Uh, if you don't, you should. Have a support group kind of already in place, if it's possible. Friends, families, people that you can confide in. Even us tough guys, we need to have people that we can confide in. Maybe it's our spouse, maybe it's a buddy, a brother, a father, or something that that we can go to and open up and let it all out. I have seen in my own personal experience with men in tragic times that, if they aren't able to process the emotional stress, the emotional burden, make it pop. So when you think about it, specifically for men, but women, you're not left out of this. I'm just speaking. I'm talking about this as a man, from my perspective. Uh, we have the burden of providing and taking care of our family. At least that's how we see it. I'm not saying that there's, not women and mothers that are providing and taking care of their family. But as men, we view our role in the family as the provider and the caretaker and the protector. And so when you have that on your shoulders, when something bad is going on and that you see that your family isn't, doing as great as they should be, it creates more stress on you. If something happens and some of your family member is gone, your home is gone, things like that, it's going to add extra stress and burden. So we have to somehow, and I don't know how. I'm kind of going through it in my own world right now. Figure out a way to prepare also for that emotional stress, the emotional burden, the emotional strain that's going to be on you, because it's going to affect the relationships that you have at that time. If it's you and your spouse and your kids, and you're stressed, you're broken, you're down, You may lash out at each other, and each other is probably all you'll have. So this is something that I would suggest you and your spouse and talking about, you and your friends, your mag groups, whatever it is. Start talking about this kind of stuff now. Us guys, we don't like talking about that kind of stuff because we're tough, right? We don't let things affect us. But that's not really that true. We're good at hiding it. We're good at keeping it inside. But things do affect us. And when something bad happens in our life, it affects us. And sometimes it affects us more, or at least very differently, because as men, we like to be in control. We like to be in charge. We like to have the answers. We like to be able to be the one leading and guiding. And when we're not able to do that because of whatever that's happening in our life, that we're not able to control it, it affects us a lot. So we need to start that process now. Husbands, wives, boyfriend, girlfriend, if father, son, father, daughter, mother to son, mother, daughter, whatever, mag group friends. Start that conversation of like how we're going to get through the emotional strain of SHTF, the emotional burden, the emotional, ripping apart. There could be a death, a child could die. How are you going to deal with that? How are you going to handle that and still take care of your other children? Some of us have dealt with death and we're like, hey, it sucks, but I can deal with it. But it's different if you deal with it when it's your own child. And that's just an example. So I think this is something that's not really talked about a lot, especially for us guys. Like I said, we're all a bunch of rough, tough Viking, non-emotional, whatever. And we are emotional. We just hide it and keep it inside a lot differently. And when something bad happens, SHTF, especially if it was, a Tiawaki, the end of the world as we know it, we have to have the tools to get through the emotional part of it, because eventually that will come. The adrenaline will eventually wear off. The initial panic, the initial actions will wear off, and eventually things will kind of start cooling off a little bit in your life. And then that's when that emotional sets in, that when you start to realize the impact of what has gone on in the last, however long it has been. And once that impact hits you, that's when, that's when it will hurt. That's when it will, you won't know how to handle it. And excuse me. So I don't know that I have a whole lot to, that this is really teaching. It's just mostly thinking about this, because honestly I don't know how to prepare for the emotional side of it. But I think it is something we need to try. There may be others out there that are much more expert than I, but I think talking about it, praying about it, reading your Bible, getting that side of your spiritual life stronger, talking with your families, talking with your best friends, realizing that when something bad happens, it's not just the physical toll, but there is an emotional toll on everyone, including us guys. And we have to be prepared to address that and deal with it, so that things don't get worse for us. All right. It's kind of a tough video to make. I've asked for you guys to remember me in prayer in the past, and I ask you to do it again, because some of you know this, and I'm not quite at the point that I'm ready to talk about it on such a public way of YouTube, but I am going through real SHTF right now, and it's pretty rough, and it's tough. So remember me in prayer. All right. You guys and gals, take care, and remember, just, be aware of that. Something bad happens, it's going to affect you emotionally too, and how you're going to handle it that way. All right, we'll catch y'all in the next video.